if I'm not addressing my core identity for myself, I will be constantly seeking my identity through my actions. Right? I like to say that performance-based identity is like having no identity at all. If I only see myself as good by the good things that I do and the people who recognize them in me, that is just a hamster wheel of death. And it's a hamster wheel that many of us were on. In the kind of bulk of my acting out years, I was a pastor. I was a youth and family pastor. And I was living this double life. I was doing all of these things that I thought were good, that I thought God would approve of. I was serving in the church. We were taking mission trips. I was helping people come to Christ. I was discipling, right? I was doing all of these things trying to win back my sense of self that I was losing to the pornography and the acting out. And I couldn't keep up. There was no way to keep up. I was constantly chasing, kind of wanting to overcome my sin. And I was very aware that I didn't have to do that for my salvation, right? I knew that, hey, I'm good. God saved me. He's given his life for me. But the idea that I was good in his eyes, right? That I was worthy in his eyes or valuable or lovable in his eyes, I couldn't believe based on what I was doing. And so what I recognized was it won't matter what it is, but if I am constantly chasing this sense of self, I'll chase it in anything. And I could see that I even started doing that in my recovery work early on. I wanted to be the good recovery guy, right? When things hit the fan, right? When Joanna found out of everything, I mean, the first thing I wanted to do was to do recovery right. I'm gonna go to the right intensive and I'm gonna go to the group every week and I'm gonna do the check-in and I'm gonna get my chips. I mean, I used to come home with my sobriety chips and be like, hey, look, aren't you proud of me? And I could see that it was still that journey to try to address my sense of self. And what I found was I was just going to be running that race and I was just going to wear myself out. And so I had some really good counselors, some really good coaches, some really good mentors who called me to slow down and say, how do you feel about yourself regardless?
Hmm.
If you don't get sober, how will you feel about who you are as a person? Right? Can you find that guy lovable? Not the guy that cleans up the house, but the
Hmm.
guy who wastes an hour, right? Can you find that guy lovable?
Hmm.
Is he as worthy as the guy who's 12 years sober? Because if he's not, you'll be chasing that version of yourself your whole life. And so a lot of this starts at the beginning and recognizing that what the shame is trying to do is it's trying to kill my sense of self. And so the only way out of resentment is to build my sense of self without trying to earn it, with just being able to see it. And part of that comes in seeing it in my brokenness, seeing it and being willing to confess. I love the practice of confession because I feel like it sets people up to find themselves lovable in their imperfection. If I can't confess and find myself lovable, then I'm kind of on a train to resentment and to expectations. If I can confess my brokenness, if I confess my mistakes, if I can name where I'm struggling and still like me, that's usually a really, really good sign. And so confession and seeing myself well is the place everything has to start. I think the other thing, if once I've done that, then I can do the same thing for others, which is can I see others in kind of who they are? Can I see them lovable? Can I even reframe? One of the things we do in resentment is we play the victim, we make our wife often the bad guy. Well, it won't work for me to make me the bad guy, but can I make my view of her really high? Can I actually raise my view of my spouse? Can I see the things that they're doing as signs of their just incredible createdness of God, right? The image of God in them.